Hey everybody, just wanted to throw this up real quick before our class on Tuesday night. Just wanted to talk about a couple of the things that I'm going to suggest for you guys, basically for the class and for the distant future. I think I've mentioned or may have mentioned that I'm using the Adobe Creative Cloud for my editing. I have the full version of the cloud, which includes Photoshop, Lightroom, Adobe Premiere, After Effects, so on and so forth. Adobe now has, and they've had it for a while, a photographer's bundle, basically. And it's going to cover Photoshop and Lightroom, plus some nice little additions to go along with that. They call it the Creative Cloud Photography Plan, and it's $9.99 a month. Now, a couple of things that I've seen and that I've read on some of the posts online and everything is that people absolutely refuse to do a subscription plan, that they absolutely hate the idea of having things up on the you have to have the internet to be able to access these things, so on and so forth. So I want to talk real quick about just a couple of rumors and see if I can get these things straightened out for you guys. First off, with this photography plan, you do, as you see, you get Photoshop and Lightroom. If you're working with a tablet, an iPhone, or an Android device, there's a couple of advantages there as well that you can utilize. First and foremost, the programs that you use, in this case Photoshop and Lightroom, they're downloaded to your computer, and so you are using them locally. Now, that being said, every so often Adobe wants you just to verify your cloud service subscription, so they might have you log in maybe once a month, if that. It's very good because of the simple fact that when we were in a position to where when we were buying Photoshop in the old days, Photoshop was anywhere between $700 and $900. Adobe would come out with upgrades about every 18 months, in which most upgrades were going to cost you another $200. Lightroom started out at $149, and I think it's probably close to that still now. They dropped their prices for a while, but I think, not sure about this, but I think they went back up. However, and again, you know, about every 18 months or so, they would come out with a new version, which you'd have to pay an upgrade price for, which was usually $80. Now, they're bundling this at $9.99 a month. Okay, you get full versions of both programs, unlimited, unrestricted, and everything that you could possibly have as far as updates, upgrades. If they come out with a major upgrade, you get it. Your price doesn't change. You don't have to pay extra. Now, I've been on the cloud for probably about 3 years now, and being that I have the entire suite, that in and of itself would have cost me somewhere in the neighborhood of about $2,500 to $3,000. I pay $30 a month. There's some features that you get with it. You get some online storage. I'm going to pull up a slide here real quick. Okay, what we're looking at is we're looking at Adobe's page for the photographers, the Creative Cloud Photography Plan. And you guys can find this at adobe.com, Creative Cloud /photography. And you can see the pricing on it is as follows for $9.99 a month. And you do get, again, you get Photoshop, you get Lightroom, and then there's some extras that you get as well. You get what's called Lightroom Mobile, which is now available for both Android and iOS devices. And basically what that allows you to do is it allows you to sync Lightroom to your device, and you can perform a lot of the basic edits that Lightroom has available: exposure, contrast, black and white settings, so on and so forth. And the nice thing about that is if you're out in the field somewhere, once you've synced your photos to your Lightroom mobile, any adjustments you make out in the field or wherever you might happen to be, you know, if you're at your mom's house for Thanksgiving and you feel the need to do a little bit of editing on a project you just shot, you pull up Lightroom mobile, and like I said, once you've synced everything, you'll be able to see what you've synced on your Lightroom mobile for your device, and you can make those changes right then and there. The nice thing about that is once you move on to the next picture, or you'll see in the upper left-hand corner when you get the program, is you'll see a little cloud, and you just tap on that, and what happens is those changes that you've made on your device will automatically upload to the cloud and then download back to your computer with those changes made. So you can get an idea of the flexibility that you can have being able to edit out, do a little bit of editing out in the field, and when you get back home to your desktop, then you can go ahead and pull those photos up with all the changes that you've made. So it makes it really, really nice. You also get a lot of tutorials online that you can work with and so forth, or you can keep coming to my classes, and hopefully we'll get you on that same track. The other thing is you get some really cool other apps that are available to you. One of the ones that I started using that I kind of like a lot, it's called Adobe Slate, and you can see it right down in here. And basically what Adobe Slate does is it allows you to put kind of a story together using photos and text and everything. And the cool thing is you can email it, you can throw it up on Facebook. It's got a lot of little options, and it's a newer app, but it is slowly growing into a pretty cool way to get your stuff out there. If you want to throw something together real quick for, say, if somebody asks you about a wedding, you can send them a little show of a couple of your wedding pictures and some details behind it and what you can offer them and so on and so forth. If you're using the full version of Lightroom on your desktop, you can also tether your camera to Lightroom, and this is some stuff we'll go over when we do the Lightroom class on Tuesday. But again, you can see it's $10 a month. Again, you can upgrade when all the new products come out. As a matter of fact, it will tell you when new products or new versions of the product have come out, and any minor upgrades that they may have or updates, bug fixes, things like that. All of that gets pushed to you guys, and it allows you to be really, really flexible in how you work. Now, again, I know there's a lot of people out there who say that they refuse to do a subscription program, but if you do the math and you really look at what you get and the cost of what these things would be normally, you are saving a ton of money. Again, I've been using their Creative Cloud service since it became available actually in CS6, which is kind of funny because CS6 came out about 2.5 months after I purchased CS 5.5. So, and they came out with their subscription service model, and I dumped CS5 real quick. And again, because I teach, I do have to have the latest versions of everything that I teach, and I do teach most of the suites. So for me, buying the full version or subscribing to the full version was the absolute best way for me to go to get everything that I need. This, for you guys who are doing weddings or anything else, portrait sessions, so on and so forth, believe me, it will pay for it in spades over a period of a year. So it's something I really encourage you guys to look into. Now, before the class on Tuesday rather, if you guys would like, you can go to Adobe. You can get a trial version, a 30-day fully functioning trial version of this bundle. So it'll be Lightroom and Photoshop, and you can use it free for 30 days. Decide whether you like it or not. Again, I really encourage it, but that's just me, and I'll let you guys decide. But if you can, before the classes, and I'll try to run some Lightroom and Photoshop classes a little bit closer in time, closer intervals, so you can take advantage of that 30-day free trial and be able to follow along with me with the classes. So there's one other thing I want to talk about, and we'll get to that in just a second. Okay, the other thing I want to talk to you guys about is how you guys work. One of the biggest things that I recommend to people for a lot of different reasons is to use a graphics tablet. And I know I've seen a lot of posts, and one of the reasons I want to bring this up, because I've seen a lot of posts about people who have a tablet but they don't use it because they couldn't get used to it, and when questioned, I would ask them, how long had they been using it, and I would get very short periods of time. I bought it on a Friday, I tried it over the weekend, I couldn't stand it, so I put it away, or I took it back, or whatever. Couple of things about the graphics tablets. I started doing graphics in 1985, and it predated Wacom or Wacom. However, they've got a couple of different versions of how to say it. Anyway, I predated the tablets by about 8 years, and I purchased my very first tablet in 1993. Amazingly enough, I still have that tablet. It still works. Unfortunately, today's computers don't have the right ports to plug it in, so I can't really use it. But they have gained a lot of features over the years, and they're really an excellent piece of equipment. Now, the tablet that I purchased back in 93 was a 6x8 tablet, and at that time, that tablet cost me $349. Their equivalent of that, which is their Wacom Medium Intuos Pro Medium tablet, is about $379, I think. So price-wise, they really haven't gone up in the 25 plus years that that it's been since since I purchased mine, or 23 years. And they have gotten so much better. So I want to go over a couple of the different tablets for you and kind of show you what's available. They've got a huge line, and there's a lot of advantages to some of them, and some of them are just plain old cool, and some of them are just, if you really have the extra money to spend on the nice toys, you can go that route. So the first one, if you want to go see these tablets and kind of see them in action a little bit, you can go to Wacom or Wacom.com. The first two that I've got up here on the screen are both their Intuos line. The top one is their Intuos Pen and Touch, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. The one on the bottom is their Intuos Pro line. Now, these are the two tablets that I usually recommend for people who are just starting out, and you'll kind of see some of the differences when it comes down to what these guys have to offer. So let's talk a little bit about them and give you some information. So the first one here is the Intuos Touch and Pen. It starts at $100. It's a small, so its area is probably around 4x6 ish. They started at $99. This is considered their consumer level model. They have the next size up from that, I think, starts at $199, and it's a 6x8 tablet. Couple of things about the tablet. As you can see, it's a tablet and a pen. All of their tablets come with a pen. When it comes to editing, there's pressure sensitivity built into these things that will make a huge difference in in your process. The Intuos Touch and Pen has 1,000 or 1,024 levels of pressure sensitivity. So again, depending on how hard or how light you push, is going to depend on what you actually have it set for. You could have it set for pressure. Say if you're doing brush strokes, if you use a lighter touch, the lighter the brush stroke will be. If you use a harder touch, the darker the brush stroke will be. You can also use it for size. So you could set inside of Photoshop, you can set it to at its lightest touch will have a smaller brush, and as you put pressure and draw, you'll get a larger brush. So it really has a huge advantage as far as the flexibility. Now here's the big thing about it, and this is one of the reasons that that I love these things so much. In the early days of doing graphics, I had to use a mouse for the most part, and I developed carpal tunnel syndrome as a result of it. So I've had wrist surgery, and I still have issues with tendonitis in my wrist. These are ergonomically wonderful to use. It's pen to paper, okay? It's that exact same thing. The control is exactly the same. In some programs, you can even specify tilt on your pen as to how that delivers ink onto a page. People who use Painter, Corel Painter, have and use that feature quite a bit. But as far as the ergonomics of writing with a pen to paper as opposed to, as some people compare it to, with a mouse, using a editing with a potato. So it offers a lot as far as flexibility in use and accuracy and ergonomics, which really kind of help you out. The next in the lineup is the Wacom Intuos Pro. It starts at $249.99, and that's their small. I personally use the small. Couple of reasons. One, I can take it with me pretty easily, throw it into my backpack or wherever I'm carrying my laptop or whatever. And again, it's compared to the Intuos that I just previously showed you. This one has twice the levels of pressure, so it's 2048. On the right-hand side, or excuse me, on the left-hand side, it has what they call express keys, which are programmable. The other thing I like about this one, their whole Pro line, and they've got a small, a medium, and a large, so you can kind of go to their website and check out the different sizes. Is the Intuos Pro line can also be run wirelessly. Usually when I'm at home, I have mine connected to my computer via USB, but if I'm out teaching, I use the wireless feature on it, and it works absolutely wonderful. So this is their two basic lines. Now, as I had mentioned before, a lot of people tell me that they get frustrated with it and they can't use it. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. It takes time. It is practiced to be able to connect what you're doing on this tablet to what's going on the screen. So usually what I tell people for a week, no matter what you're doing, because this can also be used as a mouse or a trackpad, is to put their mouse away for a week and strictly use this for everything you do, whether it's surfing the net, checking up on your friends on Facebook, working inside of Photoshop, Lightroom, whatever else you guys do on your computers. My advice is to use this for a week and really get acclimated to where the pen and the and everything works on your screen. Now you can set this up, and by default it's set up to be relative to what your screen is. So a lot of things that come up are, usually you'll drag your mouse to get your pointer, say, from the lower right hand of the screen to the upper left hand of the screen. Well, with a pen, if you pick up the pen and you place it on the upper right hand of the screen, that's where your mouse is going to fall. If you pick it up and you move it across to the right of the right hand part of the screen, that's where your mouse is going to be. So part of it is you have to get used to the fact that you're not dragging like you would with a mouse, that you are that the way this tablet is set up is that everything is relative to your screen. That's the part that most of the people get kind of frustrated with, and like I said, it does take time. Once you're acclimated to it, you guys will absolutely not use a mouse again. I use my pen 99.9% of the time. The other thing about both of these tablets, the previous one that I just showed you, the Pen and Touch, and this tablet, is you can also use finger gestures. So if you're working on something in Photoshop, you can use a pinch to zoom in and out. If it supports it, and I really haven't checked this version of Photoshop yet, but if it supports it, you can also rotate using a touch gesture. So you don't have to constantly being kind of going between a mouse and your pen. So you can do a lot of the work on the tablet itself. Again, this one has what they call express keys, which allow you to program those however you want. I personally do a couple of multi-key shortcuts in Photoshop that are kind of a pain in the butt every time to sit there and do, Control Alt Shift and whatever the third keystroke is or fourth keystroke is. So I program that as an express key shortcut. One touch, my shortcut is complete. Now, if you have some extra change, they've got a couple of other products which are their higher end products. The first one is called the Cintiq. Now, as you can see by this picture, the person is actually working on the tablet itself. This is a 13-inch HD touch, and it starts at $99.95. It is expensive, and it does work in conjunction with your computer. So it plugs into your computer, and you use it to draw straight on or edit straight on the screen itself. Obviously, the advantage there is you don't have to get acclimated to that difference between the tablet and your screen positioning. It's all right there. If you have the extra $1,000 laying around, knock yourself out. Go for it. I've worked on them once or twice, and they're a lot of fun to work on. And it's just very cool being able to do it that way. My budget doesn't quite allow me to have one sitting on my desk, though, which is why I love the small. And then one that they just came out with, actually they're in their second iteration of it, and it is called the Cintiq Companion, actually the Companion 2. It starts at $2,000. Now here's the thing with this one. This one is really cool because basically it's built on a tablet. It's Windows based. It's running Windows 8.1, and this tablet can run full versions of Photoshop and Lightroom, so you don't have to get these scaled down versions of it. I don't think they have a scaled down version of Photoshop now that I think about it. They do have Lightroom Mobile, but this is a full-on Windows 8 computer. It comes in several different versions. Again, it's touchscreen. It's when you're not working in Photoshop or Lightroom, it's basically a tablet. It's a Windows-based tablet. So surfing the internet, doing Word documents, so on and so forth. They've got a keyboard accessory for it that you can pick up. But at its core, basically what it is, it's one of their Cintiq type tablets. So you can also plug this into a computer and use it as a Cintiq tablet, or you pull it off the computer, you take it with you, and it's a full-on Cintiq tablet running Photoshop, running Lightroom, running Painter, running whatever else you can load onto it. So it is a full version tablet that you can run these full version programs on. But as you can see, it starts at $2,000, and but it's extremely flexible. So I guess if you're really, really serious about this, and actually I'm starting to save up for one of these because of being able to teach in class. It's a little bit more convenient than hauling around a laptop and a tablet and everything. I can do everything right on this. So it's going to be an investment, but for me, it's going to be really, really worth it. And the nice thing about this is I mentioned a little bit earlier, in Lightroom, you can tether your camera and work straight into Lightroom, and you can actually trigger your camera from Lightroom via USB. Because this runs a full version of Lightroom, I can do the same thing on this tablet. So it's really a cool piece of equipment. Now, all that being said, like I said, I wanted to kind of put this together for you guys just before the class on Tuesday. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff before then, please drop me a line, let me know, and I'll try to get you some answers before Tuesday. Until then, the one thing I would, if you guys are able to, is to go ahead and download the trial versions of Lightroom and Photoshop. Again, they're 30-day fully functioning trials, and decide if you really like them and if you feel that that bundle is going to work for you guys. Again, I think it's a really great deal. I've loved it for the last 3 years, and I will continue to love it because it's saving me a ton of money. So I hope to see you guys on Tuesday, and I look forward to the class, and I look forward to your questions. You guys have a good evening and have a safe holiday. Talk to you soon. Bye.